I do have some adjustments I can make on the targets, on the validation points and the lighting. So I'm going to click no to saving it here. I'm going to bring that up and show you how that works. So again, I'm going into my admin file under photo stations. I'm going to expand this. And in here, I'm going to go under training video because that's the calibration we used. Right over here is where I can set this. So here's my location tolerance. So right now it's set to 80,000. So if something moves 80 thousandths from what I calibrated it at, it's going to give me an alarm. Just so you can see that alarm, I'm going to go ahead and change that down to 30 thousandths of an inch. And I'm going to change my lighting tolerance down to 1. All right, so I'm going to click apply, and this should give me enough to have the software get angry at me. Now I'm going to go into SlabMaker and take a picture. So what the validation does is it allows the software to compare the lighting and the location. All right, so in this case, it's telling me that my lighting has changed and that a recalibration would be recommended. All right, so it's saying that the lower left corner, the lighting has changed. In a case where the lighting has changed, I'd be looking at an overhead door open, a flash not going off, somebody that put a cart in front of one of the flashes so it's not hitting the A-frame, or sometimes it's just taking another picture would be all that needs to be done. We'll go ahead and we can pull that down and see the differences there. We'll go ahead and take one more picture here and see if that alarm pops back up again. And it did. All right, so that's how the validation targets work. That's how they can be adjusted and set. You can turn them off if that's something that you really don't wish to utilize. You can uncheck it and turn that off so that you're not using it. To do that, we go into the photo station, and right here is the checkbox. If I uncheck those, then the software will not look at that. Usually this is set to, I think we set it to around a 6, and the tolerance we set to 0.125, which is 1/8 of an inch. Right. And that will do it on this portion of it. Now we're going to jump back into the calibration here. For anyone that needs to adjust your lighting or has some changes to be made there, close out of this. And we'll go back into calibration. For adjusting your lighting, there are these options on the left-hand side that allow you to make changes to how your quality of the light is coming out. And we'll walk through each one of them and what they do. So I'm going to leave these targets on the end here off to the right. And we're going to include those just to see how that can make a difference on your quality of photo. Click on my light map here. Okay, so this is showing me how my image is coming out right now with my camera settings that I have. Okay, right now, because I'm really bright on the right-hand side, that's what's giving me the poor results for my light variation. I have 0.8% that's in that bad territory. Right, well, we'll go ahead. I'm going to make a change to this. I'm going to change my F9. Take a picture. And I'm going to bring these in so I'm no longer on that edge. All right, so now you can see that I'm underexposed on my photograph. If I go to my light map, it's showing me that I'm very dark. All right, so if we change our ISO to 200, that's going to make our picture brighter. Okay, so your ISO is usually going to be between 1 and 200. The lower, the better. So right now at 200, my exposure now came in at okay. My white balance is perfect. But if you look at my light variation, I'm not doing very good there. All right, and you can see why. I'm really yellow there across the board. Now I could adjust this f-stop here, let's say to F11, and we'll see how that changes the picture. Okay, it showed me very dark. So that might have been too much. Let's go to F10. So really with these settings on the left here, your ISO, you're looking at either 100 or 200. Other than that, it's really your aperture. Shutter speed is just kind of a fine tune. But those are what you'd use for your exposure and light variation. The other part of light variation is it's really where your flashes are pointed to. So if you have your flashes pointed towards the sides and the middle is is darker, by adjusting these settings, it's not going to change that. You would need to physically adjust your lights to make that better. So I'm going to go ahead and set this back to 100. Now we're going to change it back to 7.1. Take a picture here. And now I'll select these rows. All right, so now I'm back in that 90 percentile. The other thing I want to talk about is the white balance. Okay, the white balance is just used by this white balance shift here. So if you have issues with that or that's not coming in, the easiest thing to adjust. So we're just going to go ahead and play with this guy. Let's just put them both at 0 so you can see how I do this. So we'll take a picture with both of them set at 0. And now my white balance will have a poor rating. Okay, so it shows me right here that I'm positive on my red. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull that off a little bit. Shift that. Let's just try 4 and see how we end up. Okay, now I'm at a +3. So we'll give it a little bit more. Okay, so I'm at 0 there, +7 on blue. Now my blue's a little too high. So we'll back that off a little bit. And my green is -1. So we'll give the green a little color there. Right. So now I'm somewhat balanced there with the red and the blue and my green as well. All right, so if I'm happy with everything here, now again, I would go back to doing a validation. Take a picture. Drag in my numbers there to get the row of dots that I'm looking for. Do the calibration. I'm sorry, the validation. And that is now done. Now I click on calibration, take a picture, bring it into my dots that I would like. Hit the green wheel. And now that that's done, I'll go ahead and drag this over to the lower left and save it.
This concludes the advanced lighting options. Please see our next video setting the origin point in Slabsmith.